Today we're kicking off the holiday season with some elegant thrift flips that could fit into many home decor styles. And this one is Pinterest inspired. I think these ornament present boxes are stunning and wanted to make one that fits my home's color palette. My dad actually found this trunk sitting on the side of the road and knew I could do something creative with it. I love the shape and leather accents, but not so much that world map on it. So I cleaned it up really well and then started taping off the brown edges and leather straps, but quickly abandoned that because I do have a pretty steady hand when it comes to painting, and this was just taking too long. So you're gonna see only one spot is actually taped off. Then I painted the trunk white and I think I gave it 3 coats. Now, to add in the ornaments, I had these large buffalo check bulbs from Dollar Tree last year. They were the perfect size, but I didn't want the black. So I sanded that black glitter off and then spray painted them white. I wanted this piece to have lots of texture and different textiles because it's gonna be neutral, so I covered 2 ornaments in different fabrics. One in a thrifted sweater and then one in lace. I will say trying to cover a ball with fabric and make it look smooth was extremely difficult. If you have any tips on how to make it look smooth, please let your girl know in the comments because I seriously struggled. I knew you would not see the entire ball on this project though, so one end looks pretty rough. I also had a Dollar Tree bouncy ball from the kids section that I painted white and covered this one with that plush white car towel. These are gonna be the 3 largest ornaments. The rest of the ornaments and embellishments I either picked up at Hobby Lobby or raided my craft stash looking for anything that was white, beige, or brown in various sizes. I'm not gonna lie, this was a pretty expensive project to make. Initially, I thought I'd be able to just pull from ornaments I already owned, but I wanted a very specific look and decided to just buy the bulbs that would match. Then it was just a matter of adding everything onto the box. The leather straps were not gonna work, so I did cut those off, and I wanted it to look like a cascade of ornaments spilling out of the box. So I placed the largest ornaments on first and then filled in from there. I thought it needed some more green to liven it up a little bit and pulled from various picks that I have and added little sprigs here and there. This is a project where I feel like more is more. I know most times I prefer a simpler look, but I love how this one turned out. It's so elegant and could fit into so many home decor styles, from glam to farmhouse to boho. It is quite versatile, and all of the textures and similar color tones add so much dimension. This project is pretty easy. I found this belt at the Goodwill recently and knew right away I wanted to make it over for Christmas. I love the spindle handle on top, and the rest was easy to change. I thought I'd be able to remove that bird transfer that was on it. I tried acetone, I tried goof off, paint thinner, I tried a scraper, but nothing was working. So I ended up just painting over it. I taped off that handle and gave the bell 3 coats of white paint. After the paint was dry, I wanted to bring out some of that beautiful scroll detail and sand it over the paint a little bit. I don't love a lot of distressing, so I only took a little bit of paint off around the edges, but you could certainly distress something like this as much as you like for your style. Then I took it out into the garage to spray it with a sealer, and oh, you guys, I do not like this polyurethane spray sealer. It always ends up having a yellow tint to it. I much prefer polyacrylic, but that stuff is just so much harder to find in a spray paint in my area. But anyways, I took it back inside to paint the inside of the bell black, so the distressed detail would really show up better, and I realized that handle just screwed right off, which would have made painting the bell so much easier. Oh well. Next I wanted to add a transfer, and yes, I know I just covered one up, but I wanted it to look more festive for the holidays. And I picked up this IOD Christmas transfer pack recently. There are so many beautiful transfers in here. This thing is going to last a long time and make so many projects. I cut out one of the small holly pieces to use on the bell. I had also cut out some of the pitberry pieces, but didn't end up using those. I wanted to keep it on the simple side, but again, do whatever works for your style. When adding transfers or stencils or anything really onto a round surface, roll up some towels or fabric to place on either side of the object. That's going to prevent it from rolling around on you and make the process much easier. I had also cut some slits into the transfer sheet to make it contour around the bell better, and then just use the scraper tool to apply it. And that's it for this one. I was going for a vintage Christmas look here, and I think it is stunning. All right, for this project, I've had these sets of shutters lying around forever. I actually picked them up from a house down the street from me when they were trying to sell, and they had put a large trash pile of free stuff out on the curb, and I still have more to use. But I gave them a really good cleaning since they are super dirty with my Dixie Belle Pristine Clean formula. I did not sand them down or do anything else because I want to add milk paint. Milk paint is supposed to work well on a slick surface, and these shutters have a satin finish. I'm using the color Driftwood, which is a beautiful chocolate brown. When mixing up milk paint, you want to use a 1-to-1 ratio of powder to water and stir it up really well for 2 minutes, allowing the powder to fully absorb. I'm still trying to figure out the correct ratio and consistency for my liking, and I think I made the paint too thin this time. I gave the shutters 3 coats of the milk paint and used my heat gun to help dry and get that chippy look. I'm not sure why, but this piece really did not chip much, which was surprising because it was a slick surface, but I think that was because the paint was just too thin. Now, for the detail on the shutters, I found these deer silhouettes at Hobby Lobby. I got them 40% off, so they were around $3, which I thought was a great deal. I'm going to decoupage the deer, but first I need to paint it white. Most of the time when you're decoupaging a napkin, you want to start with a white or a light base underneath. That way the napkin will look more vibrant and true to color. I found these napkins, I'm pretty sure, at Hobby Lobby last holiday. They're a simple pattern that I thought would look really elegant on these shutters. A lot of napkins I buy for decoupaging are 2-ply, but sometimes they're 3-ply. This one is a 3-ply, so you want to make sure you pull off both background layers before adding to your project. I tend to need to wet my fingers and pinch the napkin to get that last layer to separate. Before I add the napkin to my project, I like to tear the edges, and I do this for a few reasons. One, a lot of times there's a little raised border around the outside of the napkin, and I don't want that on my final project. But most importantly, when you need to line up more than one napkin, or if you will see the edge of the napkin on your project, this makes it blend right into the project and you can't even tell where it ends. So I take a detail paintbrush, dipped in water, run it across that napkin where I want it to rip, and then tear it off. To attach the napkin, I'm using my DIY liquid patina. This is my favorite decoupage medium to work with, but it does dry quickly, so you want to add a generous amount to the project. Now, typically when I decoupage, I like to use my fingers to spread the napkin down and smooth it out. However, my good friend Brandy over at the DIY Struggle, she likes to use a sponge. I've tried this once before and didn't really care for it, but I wanted to give it another try. I still don't love this method and prefer to use my fingers. Either way, you're going to get small wrinkles, but I wanted to share an alternative with you in case maybe you're a little too rough with your finger. You want to let the glue dry before getting the excess napkin off the edges. I have not tried this burn method that's been floating around a bit and thought it would be perfect to try since these antlers are really intricate. So first I cut around the deer's shape so that there wasn't an excessive amount of napkin to burn. So this method works, yes, but there's a few things I don't care for. Since this piece is white, you could see the char marks all around the edge and parts of the napkin had looked a little yellow. It also did not burn as clean as I would have thought, and I still had to go back in with my traditional sandpaper method to clean it up. I would say I prefer the sandpaper method over the burn method, but let me know if you've tried burning and what you think about it. Okay, so this wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't screw something up, right? Initially I was planning to put one deer in the middle of the two shutter pieces, but the more I thought about it, the deer was too small for that, so I separated the shutters and I bought a second deer head to decoupage. But I wanted them to face opposite directions, and these deer have a wood piece and hanger on the back, so I used my scraper and hammer to get that off. It was glued on pretty well, but there was also some pin nails in the wood I had to pull out. Then I used an 80 grit sandpaper to smooth out the surface before painting and decoupaging the second deer. That's where I screwed up. I forgot which paint I used and ended up using a different one. So now the deer are two different shades of white, which was pretty obvious to me. Even my husband, who typically wouldn't notice something like that, could tell that they were different. So what did I do? I took the back off that first deer, repainted, redecoupaged them both so that they would be the same color. But I'm really glad that I did, even though it was more work. Once I had both deer in the same color, I gave them a clear top coat. Now I need to attach the deer onto the shutters. I wanted them to sit off the surface a little bit, so I grabbed some scrap popsicle stick pieces and glued those down. Then I added the sawtooth hanger back on. I wanted 2 screws in the shutter so the deer sits correctly, and to get the screws in the correct spot, I stuck them under the sawtooth hanger where they would sit, added a piece of tape over top to hold them in place, and then I pushed the point of the screw into the shutter so I know where to drill. Then you want to make sure to pre-drill a hole before adding the screw or you will split the shutter wood. I have done that. But now the deer are not permanently attached and you could swap them out for something else all year long. That's it for this one. You could embellish the shutter further. I was going to, but decided to keep it minimal, and I love how elegant they look. I know you've been wondering, Angela, where are you using spindles? They were on the thumbnail. Well, here you go with the spindle project, and I love it so much. I have been looking for spindles everywhere in my area, found this trio of chairs at the Goodwill bins for only $6 for 3. I knew I could take them apart and use the spindles, so that's exactly what I'm doing. For this project, I'm only using 3 of the spindles in 3 different sizes and sanded them down a little bit, only because there were some nicks in the wood and scratches and I wanted to smooth those out. Then I painted all 3 white. I love these round brushes for painting spindles. They make it so easy. This one's from Dixie Belle, but I know there are others out there. Next, I'm painting the tops of the spindles black because these are going to be little snowmen and the top is their hat. I wanted each snowman to have a different face, so I drew it on with pencil first and then filled them in with the black paint and then orange paint for the carrot nose. I wanted to put the snowmen in a group as a little family, and I had this decorative wood piece from Dollar Tree, so I stained it in dark walnut. Then I attached the spindles to the wood piece by drilling a pilot hole and then screwed them in. But I definitely did not wait long enough for the stain to dry. I got my stain-covered fingers all over the white paint and had to touch it up. I also should have thought about giving them buttons before attaching them, but that's okay. I went in with my dotting tool and added them all down the front. Then to dress them up a little bit, I grabbed some fabric that I have and cut strips for a scarf. I wish I had more of this Dollar Tree cotton fabric in another print because I used an actual scarf for 2 of the snowman and it's actually a little bit bulky. But that's it for these guys. I think they are super adorable. That's it for today, guys. For more content, check out this video right here, and I'll see you next week.